Welcome back to another Dune Awakening video. Hopefully you've already seen the character creation video that's uploaded on my channel. If not, it's linked in the description down below. In today's video, we're going to see what it's going to be like when we actually get control of our character, what things we're going to go through, and then a sneak peek into the early gameplay loop.
Now we're going to jump ahead a little bit in the story here, skipping past several events just to sort of get into the early new player experience of the game. And you'll see that the player, after various shenanigans, wakes up here in a cave. And as we sort of look around the cave, we'll notice that it's filled with Fremen and the remnants of, this ancient culture. So now as the player takes their first steps in the world, they're really here amongst the dead. And so the first question they should be asking is, what happened here? Who are these people? And, this is just a place where we give players a little bit of time to adjust their settings, get a feel for the movement keys, and then move forward into the cave. And they'll stumble upon their first major interaction point, which is the Frem kit. Frem kit in our game serves as both a backpack for the player, of course, but also really a guide. The Fremen used to pack these with interesting objects that they could use to survive in the desert, and it's no different from the player. So here they begin their first crafting experience, crafting a small scrap knife out of metal that was in the Frem kit. These caves have been moisture sealed in order to preserve the moisture of those within the cave. And so the player, as they explore, will be able to use their scrap metal knife to pierce the seals and escape. So really this entire area, built using Unreal Engine 5, is just to sort of get the player and ease them into the path. A lot of survival games have very abrupt, very harsh beginnings, and we tried to make the experience of joining Dune Awakening just a little easier, just give people a little bit of a feel for the world before we really toss them out into the harshness that is the desert of Arrakis. So here we've crafted a heal kit, and we're going to use that to heal our character. And once we're healed, you'll see that our stamina bar in the bottom left appears. And now that we have stamina, we can climb. The climbing system in Dune Awakening is based in part on the one that we built for Conan Exiles. It's a free-form climbing system. It can be used to climb almost anywhere. And as you'll see later, the new technology available in Dune Awakening, such as suspensor belts, allows us to do even more interesting things with traversal. So once we've finished that first little section, we're jumping ahead, we're going straight into the harsh real world of Arrakis. And here are your first steps on Arrakis. Your ornithopter has crashed, and you've got to escape from the crash site immediately, because the sandworm always comes. And what you have to keep in mind is, these are the little ones. So these are the first sandworms you encounter in the game. There's bigger ones later on. The other thing that you have to pay attention to as a player is sunstroke and heat. So if you see in the top middle of the UI here, we've got this sunstroke bar building up. The longer you stay in the sunlight, the more chance you have of getting into the sunstroke state. And of course, our player here, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, has decided to stay in the sun and try harvesting water from plants. So he has become sunstroked. Sunstroke gives you a debuff. It means that your water goes down much faster than it normally would. That means you'll need to drink more often. So stick to the shadows, avoid the sun. It will eventually wear off if you stay in shade long enough. So now that we've made our way out of the first part of the desert and we're heading deeper in, we're going to start to harvest in the game world. So harvesting in a lot of these survival games is quite similar. In this case, we're picking up items, but we're about to pull out what's known as the cut array. And what we do with the cut array is we analyze structures to find their weak points, and then we cut along those lines to break open the structures and gain the resources inside. This is like mining. We apply it both to rocks, we apply it to metals in the game world. And at the start of the game as a player, you'll just be scrounging around, picking up, finding structural weak points in rocks that you can harvest, breaking them apart, and taking those pieces with you. Now we've jumped ahead a little bit, and we see that the player is starting to be affected by the spice in the air. And this means that players need to get somewhere safe, in shelter, before the spice overwhelms them and overwhelms their senses. And this is another large part of the game. We're not going to show too much of it today, but spice is a very important part.
Don't miss out on the next video where we'll see some PvE based combat as they raid an NPC base and discuss the different tactics used to fight in Dune Awakening. I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. Don't forget to whack the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content. And if you don't want to be out of whack, there's another video on the screen right now that you can click to support more of my content.